Oh, I think I'm a teenager. So, jokes apart. I think once you become a mother, you really don't know that you had a life before that as well. To put it more crudely, yeah, because it's so much part of your life that you really don't know, what you did or how did you manage or how did you survive before being a mother. But having said all of this, it's still important to have your persona and your individuality and your identity in all of this and not getting lost in that whole transition. Especially for women, I feel they have to have their individuality, they have to have their own persona and own identity. How do they do that?
Later, when you became a mother, did you feel that you lost a sense of identity, which was before becoming a mother, a different Darshana, and now Mother Darshana?
This mother Darshana sounds like Mother Mary, isn't it? जितना तुम उसमें ज्यादा हो जाते हो, इट्स लाइक वही सारे ताम झाम दुनिया के, बच्चे बड़े करो, बच्चों को पैदा करो, उनकी पढ़ाई करो, ये करो. um, I really can't remember what I used to do before, honestly. Now that you're asking me, I have to really think. Especially with women, they get so engrossed in raising their children. I'm not saying that fathers don't do it, that's not what I mean. But it's a very, mothers are born with it, isn't it? It's like even if I'm outside and if my child is feeling unwell or there's something wrong, there's some sense. And I'm sure most of the mothers would reckon with this fact. This do happen and this does happen. So, and you just immediately call and ask what's wrong, and not like out of 10, out of 10 you're all the time out of 10 you get out of 10, but most of the times you're right with your instinct. When they're 3 and 4 years, wherever you go they'll follow you. You getting out of the house, they will want to come with you. Slowly that starts changing, and then as they grow, maybe about when they're about 7 to 8, they start having their own friends. They're not so much, they will be not so much, their dependencies will reduce, and that is where you as a mother starts feeling a bit isolated.
What do you think
Yeah.
about your individuality as a mother? Uh, did it exist for you, or you question it like I could have been on the better in career wise or some other things?
These okay. These thoughts do come, and they're very natural to come to us. That I will take that conscious decision of being around him. I sacrificed my career. I sacrificed my financial independence. I sacrificed a lot of things. There's a lot of priorities which have changed. Like, I used to meet my friends so often. I used to go out with them. I used to kind of go out for these little treks and go trekking. So all that changed. Going back, if you ask me, can I change something? Yes, I would definitely love to change something. You shouldn't, I think you shouldn't just get so, um, I would say, restricted or get so much engrossed in that whole process of upbringing your child that you start losing your own identity, which did happen to me.
If we compare your sacrifices to the sacrifices of your husband after becoming a father, do you think there is a difference, or they also have the same sort of journey?
I don't want to get into a debate here, but I think yes, a mother definitely makes more kind of sacrifice. Is motherhood just confined to me?
Does that kind of pinch affects your mental health in any way in this journey?
So it does affect mentally. I think you kind of always feel that why should this whole thing come down only to me? And it becomes worse when your child back answers you and kinds of throws attitude at you, and then you're like, oh my god, why did I sacrifice my career for you?
But do you think as a mother, did you have that space to speak about your guilt, self-doubt and anxiety to people around with people around you? Or do you think that space is missing for mothers?
No, I think that space does is I think that even doesn't get identified. Forget about speaking about it. But I think yes, you just need some kind of support structure where you can talk about these things, And I think especially to the new mother.
Your son will be 11 in few months, right?
That's right.
Awesome. So, being a 11-year-old mother, how has your life changed comparatively speaking before becoming a mother and now after 11 years of motherhood?
Oh, I think I'm a teenager. So, no, jokes apart. I think things were obviously different before. Mm,
Mhm.
you didn't have to really think too much if it was planning a movie with friends, night out with friends, or, those impromptu plans, things. It really didn't matter before. Uh, but now, yes, you have to think a bit. Oh, what will he eat, or how is his day going to be placed, or how will his lunch, dinner, or whatever it is. Not just about lunch, dinner, but there are so many things. What is he going to do in a day? And there's also one thing which, before motherhood, if I was going out, doing some outings, um, I used to call my mom, that, or she used to call me, not I used to call it. More often it was she would call me and check on me, where are you, where are you? And now it's the other way around. I call up and ask, I call up him and or ask at home, what is he doing? What is he doing? So I think, yes, these all changes are there, and nobody teaches you. They are just part and parcel of motherhood. Like they always say, there's a motherly instinct. So it's just that, and um, life has changed definitely. I think, but you embrace that change, don't you? I
Okay.
mean, it's like, I think once you become a mother, you really don't know that you had a life before that as well, to put it more crudely. Yeah, because it's so much part of your life that you really don't know, what you did, or how did you manage, or how did you survive before being a mother. Because there's different kind of bonding, there's different kind of attachment. But having said all of this, it's still important to have your persona and your individuality and your identity in all of this, and not getting lost in that whole transition. Um, it should be more like motherhood, I would say. It should be you should be enjoying. I will not say that we all enjoyed. I even mentioned it last time. It's not like always you enjoy because your son is unwell, your child is unwell, or there's something or the other which keeps going wrong. But despite of all this, I think we, especially for women, I feel, they have to have their individuality. They have to have their own persona and own identity. How do they do that? It might be through their work, it might be through their friends, or it might be nurturing some kind of a, let's say, reading, or pottery, whatever interests you, but nurturing that one, I would say, not a hobby, but at least where you can get engaged and be yourself and spend some quality time just with you.
But still, you generalized that your life before motherhood will consist of outings, family, friends, going out, night outs, and everything. But if I want to understand in like detail, how was your life before becoming a mother? Like what all you used to do it, and later when you became a mother, did you feel that you lost a sense of identity, which was before becoming a mother a different Darshana, and now Mother Darshana?
This Mother Darshana sounds like Mother Mary, isn't it? And no, I think, how do I put it? You can't really nitpick the changes, or like I said, it's a process, and you just get evolved in it, or you get entangled in it. uh, it's like, जितना तुम उसमें क्या बोलते हैं उसे, what is that word which you call for, get involved. I can't really remember the Hindi word for involved, but जितना तुम उसमें ज्यादा हो जाते हो, it's like वही सारे ताम झाम दुनिया के, बच्चे बड़े करो, बच्चों को पैदा करो, उनकी पढ़ाई करो, ये करो. um, I really can't remember what I used to do before, honestly. Now that you're asking me, I have to really think. So before motherhood, it used to be office, come back, even if it's late, it didn't matter. It didn't really have to be bothered about who's going to cook what are you going to eat. The smallest of the things, or if there is an impromptu plan, like I said, with friends or with office colleagues, and you said, hey, let's go for a quick drink, or let's go out for a nice shopping, or let's go for like a girls thing. You didn't really have to think about it. Okay, just call up at home and just inform your parents or inform your husband and just say that we've just had got this plan and we're just going out. But after motherhood, all these, I will not say that these impromptu plans don't really happen. They might happen, but then you always have your child as your focus or your center, and then everything revolves around the child and his schedule. To the extent of, before now that we're talking about this, I just realized that before, when I used to go shopping, I used to pick up things for me. And as soon as my son was born, it was like, even if I was going out shopping for myself, or you venture out and you decide, okay, today I want to buy this, I would land in the children's or the kids section and just pick up things for him. And then there was consciously, and this was in his early growing years, and there's consciously I started telling myself that you have to stop doing this. And now when I go out, the first I do is I go to the women's section and shop for myself. And then if I feel, or if I think that yes, if he doesn't have, but consciously in the past year, I would say in the last year, I have stopped buying things for him. Only when there's a need to buy things for him. Yes, of course, I don't. What I'm not trying to say is that I don't buy anything for him. That's not what I mean. But yeah, these are the conscious changes that I decided that if I'm going out somewhere, I will buy things for me. Or if we are going out somewhere, where it happens that if you're going out on a dinner or a restaurant, you always think, oh, what do they have in the children's menu? Like here, they have kids menu where I live. So it's like, oh, what do they have? Let's look at the kids menu for what he's going to have first, and then plan our things. But in quite, like I said, in the last 1 year, I have made this conscious decision. Okay, let me see what I like. If I like the menu, and then let's see how he gets along. If he doesn't like it there, we might just take him to some other place and he can eat it there. But that doesn't mean that you're sacrificing your child's happiness and or you're taking away things from him. No, it doesn't mean that. But I think it's just living for um, yourself, taking a little bit of care of you, and giving some attention to you, I mean me, obviously, or the mother, or in, like I said, it has to be that she has to have her own time for herself, her persona, without losing all of it. I will tell you a very interesting fact. What happens is, with especially with women, they get so engrossed in raising their children. I'm not saying that fathers don't do it, that's not what I mean, but it's a very mothers are born with it, isn't it? It's like, even if I'm outside and if my child is feeling unwell or there's something wrong, there's some sense, and I'm sure most of the mothers would reckon with this fact. This do happen, and this does happen. So, and you just immediately call and ask what's wrong, and not like out of 10, out of 10 you're all the time out of 10 you get out of 10, but most of the times you're right with your instincts. So what happens is, mothers, I think, they are very engrossed. They do have their natural motherly instincts. They get so involved in the process that over your children are dependent on you until certain age, let's say until the age of 7, or I would say 7 or 8, not beyond that. They will be dependent on you, but not so much. Or when they were a toddler, their life revolved around you. when they're 3 and 4 years, wherever you go they'll follow you. You getting out of the house, they will want to come with you. Slowly that starts changing, and then as they grow, maybe about when they're about 7 to 8, they start having their own friends. They're not so much, they will be not so much, their dependencies will reduce. And that is where you as a mother starts feeling a bit isolated, and this did happen to me as well. But that's a part of growing, that's a part of their growing process. And now at this age, he's an individual, you know. he he
But
will he will
speaking of, sorry to cut you off, but speaking of he being an individual, what do you think
yeah.
about your individuality as a mother? Uh, did it exist for you, or you question it like I could have been on the better in career wise or some other things?
These okay, these thoughts do come, and they're very natural to come to us. But I think, again, if there are some conscious decisions that we make, that I made a decision that in his early growing years I want to be around him, and there are consequences for everything, right? Even if a mother, there's a mother who lives her newborn in a daycare and just goes to work, she goes through a lot of things. She goes through emotionally, physically, mentally, she goes through a lot of things. She might be doing well in her career, but then there are certain things which she misses out. Similarly, when I decided in growing up of his early years that I will take that conscious decision of being around him, and nurturing, or I would say enjoying his growing process, I sacrificed my career, I sacrificed my financial independence, I sacrificed a lot of things. And then, but that's what I said, that there are consequences for every decision that you take. Again, it's a decision that I made, and I have to stick by it. If no matter if it's there are times when I've gone through things like, oh my god, what am I doing, am I losing my individuality? Yes, that does happen, but then you have to be have a little sound balance, and you have to think about a lot of things. Just and I think there's a pure joy in seeing your child grow up. Again, not everybody is that fortunate and lucky. Some have to go to work and take. I think it all depends on everybody's individual choices and situations, I would say more.
Okay, so you had a career before becoming a mother, then you made a conscious choice to drop off the career for your son. Now, if I want to understand, like, how that decision making happened for you as a mother, because it was a sacrifice for you. So, how that decision making process look like, or some things like a checklist that you made for yourself or with the family you discuss or reach that decision. How can one reach there? To pursue it or not to pursue it.
Like I said, there are a lot of factors. It can be a choice. B, it is also how your situation. Everybody has their individual situation, their financial situation, or any kind of other problems that they, or somebody might be just thinking, oh, I want to be just myself, and how can I lose my independence? Like they say, each is to their own, right? You can't really classify these things, or there can't be a fixed set of rules. In my case, I think it was easier, I would say, because I had a partner who understood that. And it kind of that we jointly decided on this, that for some the initial years, yes. And that time we were living in Mumbai, and you know how life in Mumbai is. Once you go out of the house for work, and you only come back in the night. There's a lot of difference. Now that I'm working here, things are very, very different. You don't really feel that. And especially in Mumbai, it's most of your time goes in traveling, and you are, at the end of the day, you are just dead and exhausted. So, like I said, these were the conscious decisions which were made. We thought about all the factors, and I think we were in that position to take that decision at that point in time.
So till now what I understand is like, you as a mother have to sacrifice on your lifestyle, in terms of your going out, meeting people, shoppings, or gatherings where you were going earlier before you became a mother. And also, in some respect, you have to make a choice of a career versus son or family. So you have to let go the career for some time. And then, what other things you think means you have lost in this journey, which you used to love earlier, and but the priorities shifted or changed? Maybe your hobbies, personal interest, family relationships, friends.
I think a lot of things. I can't say lost, but yes, there's a transition, and a lot of things. Get. I would say not lost, but priorities change. So yes, there's a lot of priorities which have changed. Like, I used to meet my friends so often. I used to go out with them. I used to kind of go out for these little treks and go trekking. So all that changed, and all that took over with the upbringing of the child. But again, I'm saying this is not how it should be, or this is not the only way. There are moms who do excellent things, and there are moms who go out and still pursue their hobbies and their careers. So I'm not saying that this is the way and this is how it is. But personally, for me, this is how it went, and this is how it happened. Going back, if you ask me, can I change something? Yes, I would definitely love to change something. um, you shouldn't I think you shouldn't just get so I would say restricted, or get so much engrossed in that whole process of upbringing your child, that you start losing your own identity, which did happen to me. And I think that's what it is also called as women deal with a lot of postpartum, and these there's so many other things which happen. And I think this is where your family stands quite, I would say, they have a place, or they stand firmly with you. And because if you remember in my earlier podcast, I did mention to you when we had this chat, this is what happens in the nuclear setups, because you
Hmm.
have, your husband, and you have your wife, husband, and or your partner, and a child. So everything is on you. And I think this is what was the beauty of olden days, when there used to be joint families. You just didn't know how children grew up. And because everybody was there in the family, there were at least about 10 people in the family, and you just didn't realize. But I'm sure they would have had their share of problems as well. um, yeah.
What did you miss a lot at this stage of life, which you used to do earlier, but you are not able to do it now?
I think I can't really pinpoint on one thing. But I used to go out, like I said, I used to go out for trekking, or I used to go out with these, uh, you know, I used to go for my dancing, which I completely stopped. I used to go out for my physical fitness, which took a major backseat. And that one thing really pinches me a lot. I shouldn't have done that. Again, I'm just reiterating that there are women who do fabulous things. There are women who give a birth and go for a go for a fashion week, and they do all these kind of things. So yeah.
Why you didn't do all that after being a mother?
Correct. That's what I said, a minute back, Piyush, that if given a chance, I would like to change those things.
Okay.
But I think at that point, you really don't know what is right, what is wrong. And honestly, there is nothing which is right and wrong. We always
Mhm.
take decisions in our head. If in any kind of a situation, we always take decisions thinking they will turn out right. I'm not saying that this particular decision has turned out bad or wrong, but we always take any kind of decision with that intention, right? And then over the period of time, you just feel, oh, probably if I would have, not let myself so much into this, it would might have helped. But again, there might have been other challenges with that. We really don't know.
Mhm.
um, why I didn't do, I think I really don't have an answer for that. I think it was just that I got so engrossed in the just and enjoyed being a new mother, getting all that attention.
So, do you think here from a conversation, if you would have more awareness and knowledge about how to deal with the motherhood or becoming a first time mother, how what I can do, what I cannot do, from a lot of perspective point of view rather than just listening to the families and the policies, then it could have been a better life for you in making those choices or not having
I
those
don't know.
regrets now.
No, see, again, these are not like regrets. This is like, when you just think back, you feel, oh yes, I could have done this probably along with this, which we always feel, isn't it? So I will not say that there was less of awareness, but I think that's the way things were back home. And be it your sisters, or be it your cousins, or whoever had delivered, and that's the way it was. Oh, you're not supposed to step out. Oh, you're not supposed to go out. Or you're not supposed to do things. Um, so like I said, there's no regret. But yes, I do feel and I do think about it sometimes, that probably, especially after coming here, when I look at, if I was there and I wouldn't have seen all of this, probably I would have thought, oh, that's the only way. But
Mhm.
now that you are exposed to certain more things, you just feel, oh, things are very different from where how things are back home. And I'm sure our parents, or my parents, or our elders have a reason for that. I'm not even denying or debating that. uh, but yeah, you do. It's a human mind. It always kinds of things falls back on things you didn't get to do more than what
Mhm.
you got.
So, if we compare your sacrifices to the sacrifices of your husband after becoming a father, do you think there is a difference, or they also have the same sort of journey, or women's journey is quite different in terms of sacrifices?
Okay, I don't want to get into a debate here, but I see. I think everybody has, even if it's a woman or a man, if it's a mother or a father, I'm sure the all the fathers in the world will have their sides of story. Um, a father has to go to work. He wouldn't have taken that decision of probably staying at home and parenting the child, and the mother would have gone. I mean, there are such cases, and there are such people who even make those bold choices. But this is a very, very, very vast kind of a topic to be discussed.
I'm just trying to understand your point of view about your own experience as a mother. It's about your journey. So that from where I'm asking.
I think personally for me, I feel mothers still have, because of their that motherly instinct. They get themselves so much into that, or they have kind of a bond which is very different. I don't say the fathers don't have that kind of bond with their children. They do have that kind of a bond, but I think it's a bit different, and that is how nature is, isn't it? There's a
I don't
difference
know.
between.
You tell me. I think you are being diplomatic here, so I'm not able to get
Yes,
into.
I am. You are actually right. I'm just trying to be diplomatic here. But I think, yes, a mother definitely makes more kind of sacrifices. Like I said, it's a very natural thing, because it's just so much into them. It's a very natural instinct that mothers have. And yes, in particularly, I feel, just to give you an instance, if there's an impromptu plan, and let's say if your friends invite you over for a night out or something, being a mother, she'll have to think twice, or think, oh, is it okay? Can I just go? How is my child going to be coping up in the night? Will it be all right? Will it be okay with the husband? Will it be all right if there are so many things to be managed? Can it be done? But yes, it's also important to do these things. Also, it's also important to take that time out for yourself, and do that. Maybe you might not get that to do quite often as compared to your husband, but still, I think it's very important that they do this. Vis-a-vis, if it's a husband, then he might just call you and say, "Oh, hey, you know what? We just have got this plans tonight, and somebody's coming, and this friend is coming, or that friend is coming, and we'll be just going out." And you're like, "Okay, what time will you be back?" So that's the kind of difference. It's not that the father might have to think about, oh, how my child is going to cope up, what is he going to eat for dinner, what is my wife going to eat for dinner. I think this still does exist and it does happen. So this is one of the major, it's like, oh, you know what, I'm just not coming back from work, and we've just got a plan to meet up and like a little drinks kind of a thing, and I'll be staying long back hours from the office because we just decided, all the office colleagues, to go out. And you're like, okay, but similarly, if that's a similar kind of a situation for a mother, she has to plan so many things, and she has to think about so many things, and not just about that day, but also about the next day. How is it going to be? Because if I am going to be out, how is it going to affect my next morning? If it's a working morning, how is it going to be all affected? So I think these are small little things, but they do make a lot of difference when again, coming back to your point, is how life or how things were different before motherhood. So I didn't have to think about all these things. All that I would do is just call up my mom and just say that, I'll be late, and I'm just going out with friends, and that's all that mattered. But now things have changed, and things are like I said, there are so many factors to be thought about and taken into consideration. I hope I answered you.
So, what you have explained me in terms of, or you shared with me, is in a generalized way how mothers and fathers live or able to make choices about their personal pursuits in this journey. But is it something which happened with you also?
Yes, it did.
And
Yes, it
when we
did
are
happen.
talking right now, so how did it make you feel as a mother about all these things?
More than a mother, I would say it's about an individual. How do you
Yeah,
feel? That
right.
sometimes you feel, oh, things were different back then, and then I would have just done the same thing, and I could have just, okay, let's go. You didn't really have to think too much about anything. So it does make you feel a bit, I would say, you just get into that self doubt zone, which is, is motherhood just confined to me? And is motherhood not like, of course motherhood is motherhood, but still, uh, you just go and you just feel that, oh my god, earlier things were not like that. I could have done whatever I felt like, wherever I would have to go. If it's a movie night, I would have just gone. Late night shows, that's another thing that I have stopped going for, completely, that not going out for late night shows. Now of course my son is a little older, and it doesn't matter because his dependency has gone down, and there's no need to be there or physically. uh, but yes, these things do affect, and you just start feeling, and especially when in the early years, because you're going through a lot of changes physically and mentally. You just feel, oh my god, why am I sitting here and nursing my child, and why am I not outside watching a movie or going out with friends for dinner? Why am I not doing that when my husband is doing that? Why can't I do that? So you do, yeah, you do feel that pinch, and but I think it's a part and process of being a mother, probably.
Okay. And if we try to see comparative of Mumbai and London, where you are currently, Do you see same kind of things is happening in London also? If you have friends and you get to know, hear their stories in terms of sacrifices and this pinch, or it is different here?
I don't know. Honestly, I can't answer because it's very, very individual kind of thing, and things are very different. Especially if you have Indian friends, things are different in their household. If you have the friends who are Britishers or from other country, things are completely different in their household. So it, I can't really say anything about it or comment, and I'm not being diplomatic here, but I really don't know.
Yeah, it's
uh,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. So, Miss, when you have just shared, it felt like there's a lot of things associated with being a motherhood, a lot of sacrifices is happening, and a lot of pinching is also there. We, you as a mother embraced things, but still some pinch is there. Does that kind of pinch affects your mental health in any way in this journey?
Absolutely. It does affect mentally a lot, not just a bit or little bit, but it
Mhm.
affects a lot mentally. Um,
How is it, how it affects mentally, or what kind of things happening inside the mind once you shared right now, we self doubt that came into your mind, but what are the
yeah.
other things? Or
So it does affect mentally. I think, you kind of always feel that, why should this whole thing come down only to me? Well, which is not the case. That doesn't really happen all the time. Um, like I said, I do have a supportive husband who takes care of things and in my absence. But still, I think maybe maybe just being a woman, you expect too many things and a lot of things all the time, and you have expectations. So I think you feel low sometimes, and you feel like, oh my god, what kind of sacrifices. And it becomes worse when your child back answers you and kinds of throws attitude at you, and then you're like, oh my god, why did I sacrifice my career for you? It's like you get that kind of a feeling. It does put you down. It does kind of mentally throws you out. You get very angry, and you are uh, you just you feel like, why, I mean, why me, why all this? But then I think it's a like I said, there always has to be a balance. These are the moments which we all go through, and not just in motherhood. It's in our day-to-day life, be it in a profession, be it anywhere. We just all go through, and then you have to have that little balance, and then get yourself down, and calm down, and get these thoughts out of the window. But they'll keep coming to you, and you will have to keep working on them, and there'll be more and more and more as they grow older, because like I said, their dependencies reduce so much. And suddenly you feel at a point, this is again, I'm going back to my point where I said with women this happens, because you give so much of so many years of your life in that upbringingness for your children. And then suddenly, when they are about 15 and 16, or they're teenagers, they just don't need you. They do need you, but that's a part of their growing as well. That's where, as a mother or as a woman, you need to understand, and you need to feel there's a lot of void that happens, when you suddenly feel that your child is going to the university, or he or she is a teenager. But that is again, and also women go through a lot of physical changes by that age once they are about 40. So I think it's very important that that's why I said you nurture or pursue some kind of a hobby, or have a little life outside your this life, meet you with your friends, or be with whatever you like. But that is very important, because there's that void is very hard to, suddenly when you see the house is empty, and when your children are gone to the universities, or when they're teenagers, they're probably hanging out with their friends. There might come a time when they don't even want, on their birthdays, they don't want to celebrate with you. and that's really hits you hard, isn't it? And but I think, like I said, it's a part of their growing process as well. Even when we were teenagers, we always felt, oh, friends are more important than anybody else in this world, not even than parents. But that's a journey, and that's a process, and we all have to fall there and then understand. I'm sure our parents or my parents would have also felt the same when, growing up. And oh, because friends suddenly become everything in your life. They become so important. They just become like an integral part of your life more than your parents. And then you feel that whatever your parents say, you're like, oh my God, they're just against us. They just don't want us
So
to do this.
speaking of it, your son is right now 10 plus. So are you nurturing any hobby for yourself? Because your son will enter teenage soon, and that void for you will start to appear.
So yes, so I not like a hobby, but I do things which I really enjoy, and I love doing things. Being like how we are discussing or how we are doing these podcasts. There are a couple of other forums that I'm a part of. So I really think that that is absolutely important to keep that mental balance. And not just because when he'll be a teenager, but you should also start that quite early. And I feel that I didn't do that a little early in his early years. But yes, I think a mother or a woman, it's very much required that you start doing this from early, because that dependencies will go down. Right now also they are very absolutely less, and there will come a time soon when they will be like, they will need you. You just can't, let go of your children. And that's not how it is in Indian culture, at least. But yes, I do a lot of things and to keep my sanity and keep myself in peace. Yeah.
And how was your mental health when you were a new mom or in the early years of your motherhood?
Um, so, what do you mean by how was my mental health?
It
Any
means when
specifics?
when becoming a first time mother, it is altogether a very new experience.
Yeah,
So
there's
at
a lot of
that,
anxiety.
yeah, okay. From where
Um,
that anxiety was coming from, or what was that anxiety about, if you can pinpoint to some
so I
specific.
think most of the time it was if you're doing the right thing for your child, you know, if
Hmm.
you are doing the right kind of a thing for your child, be it, in the smallest of the thing, even in their nutrition, or if you just feel, or if sometimes if they're unwell, you just start questioning, oh my God, did I give him the right kind of a diet? Oh my God, did I do this right? But that's the anxiety which happens. And over a period of time, you have to calm down yourself and say that, like I said, when you take any decision, we always take it with the right intention. We never take a decision thinking, oh, I'm taking this decision so that everything should go wrong for me. It's only over a period of time when you feel if it was correct or if it was not correct. Coming back again, well, I felt personally, for me, I got so much engrossed into this that I think now, looking back, I think I should have, kind of given some time for myself and gotten away from all of this and had that little time off for me. um so yes, there was a lot of anxiety, there was a lot of questioning, that self doubt and self questioning, am I doing the right thing for my child? Be it getting the child into a school, or be it every single thing, and you have to stop having that self doubt all the time. Even today I feel sometimes, oh, have I done the right thing, by getting certain, be it small thing like giving a gadget to him, or you just constantly feel that, is it the right thing that am I doing for my child, or is it? I think that anxiety, it's not so much now, but that thing will always be there, especially when you have a child, because you always, no matter what age they reach, and it's like till today my mother will be like, uh, you know are you sure you want to do this? She'll be like, are you sure? But what if, but then again, everybody has their own journey. They all have to fall and they all have to rise.
How did you navigate this anxiety which developed as a new mom or now also? How do you navigate them?
So I think the only way to channelize them is just think, like I said, pause, calm down for a moment, and have it in the right perspective and say that whatever you're doing is right. And you want a good or the right thing for your child. You never want a bad thing to happen to your child. So
So
that's
you
the
are
only way to
already
teach.
so you are already aware of like how to navigate this anxiety, or you developed in course of time.
Yes, but it not necessarily works always. It doesn't work at times. Like I said, it's a there can't be a fixated thing for this, or there can't be like a fixture for this. Um, it's always going to be there. It's always going to exist. It's only how we deal with things. I think that has evolved and that has changed. The anxieties, the fears, the questions, they all are going to be there, but how we deal or how I deal with it rather than at this point in time is a very different. I deal it in a very different way nowadays. The way I used to deal with things before, that whole, I would get panicked, and now I'm like, okay, it's all right, this has happened, so now what? You just calm down. And but I think it just it just teaches you with all these years, and it comes to you after a certain kind of an experience or some amount of time. Again, there's no such fixed rule. You, if you ask me how do I deal with it, I really don't know. Sometimes I really get very angry. Sometimes I'm like, absolutely calm down, it's all right. So if this has happened.
So, what were or what are the panicky situations which you have experienced in your motherhood journey so far?
I think there are lots of them. It's a bumpy ride, isn't it? Uh, I still remember when he was a little, when the baby just kinds of starts crawling and rolling on their tummy, and then he was once on the bed, and he just bumped down the bed, and it was really, really hard. And I could hear that loud bang, and I panicked so much. I still remember that day, the way I panicked and the way I cried, and I was like, I told my husband, like, I didn't do this. It's my mistake. I shouldn't have left him on the bed and then gone to the living room or wherever I was, or to the bathroom. I don't remember. But I felt there was a lot of guilt, lots of guilt, and I was crying inconsolably. I was like, and then we had to take him to the doctor and to the hospital. And then the doctor just looked at me and he said, "It's okay. Every child, when they are in this stage or when they start growing, this is going to happen, and they all have this. So it's all right. There's nothing that you did not do right, or it's not because you did something wrong." But I still remember that, and it was. I had a lot of guilt. Now, how could I, how could I do this? How could I just leave a child on the bed and just go? But it's okay. It was just a small and a natural thing, and I think it just got evolved over the years. Because then, when I was teaching him how to ride a bike, and he had a fall, and I was like, "It's okay. Just get up." I didn't have any kind of guilt or any kind of a thing. Or even when I still remember, in between the years, again he was playing somewhere, and he was badly hit at school. This was, I was not there, of course, but then again, I for a minute I felt, oh my God, why couldn't the teachers look after him? How could they, let something like this happen to my child? But then again, you just evolve over the period of time, and then you realize it's okay. You don't have to take guilt for everything, or you can't be in control of every situation. It's okay for them to fall. It's okay for them to cry. It's okay for them to, get hurt, and now he's learning how to. He's already learned that he helps me with a lot of chopping the veggies. So the other day he had a cut with the knife on his finger, not like a very big or a harsh one. Of course it's painful, even if it cuts at this age also, if it cuts us, it is painful for everyone. But I was like, it's okay. I didn't even have that feeling, oh, I shouldn't have told him to do this, oh, I shouldn't have asked him to cut or chop the veggies. That's not how it is. I think it has just evolved over the period and over the years, and I'm like, it's fine. That's how we become strong. It's fine. Just, just treat it well. Or it's not like you ignore it and you kind of, oh, no, 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 you know what, I have had some bigger cuts than this. That's not the point. But I think you just make them strong in this whole process, and they also learn to become stronger, because now he doesn't cry that much the way he did. um, of course he would have had when he was a little baby. But yes, that memory is still sharp, and I still remember that guilt, the amount of guilt I had. I couldn't sleep well that night, and I was checking on him all the time, waking up in the night. Oh, is he there, or has he, rolled on to the other side? Uh, yeah, but I think over the years it just has to, you have to mellow down, and you have to learn how to deal with it, and not that as a mother you can take everything upon you, which was the case before. Even if he was unwell, I would used to think, oh my god, what did I not feed him right? Or, oh, I shouldn't have given them that ice cream, or I shouldn't have. There was this guilt, oh, I shouldn't have done that. But I think now it's okay, it's fine. If he falls, he will get up. It doesn't matter.
What are the other guilts which you have felt for yourself in this journey?
Not like. Are you asking me any particular guilds, as
No,
in bringing him up, or as my, or for me as
for you,
as an individual?
for you as a mother.
Um, I can't really pinpoint on any kind of guilds as such, but like I always say, you feel consciously that whether you're doing the right kind of a thing for your child, whether you always, and if something doesn't turn out right, it doesn't mean that, I have to have that kind of a guilt within me. But I can't really remember any kind of a particular instance where I had this kind of a guilt.
But do you think, as a mother, did you have that space to speak about your guilt, self doubt, and anxiety to people around with people around you? Or do you think that space is missing for mothers to speak freely about these emotions and feelings which is happening with them?
No, I think that space does is, I think that even doesn't get identified. Forget about speaking about it, but I think it doesn't even get identified in the first place, and hence speaking is a little, at a distance. But I think, yes, you just need some kind of, support structure where you can, talk about these things. And I think, especially to the new mothers, somebody needs to, the whole world, gets on to guiding a new mother. That's the beauty, everybody will be like, on to giving advices, and don't do this, don't do that, do this, don't, or you should have done that, oh, you should have. It's okay. I mean, it needs to be more like, it's all right, whatever you are doing is absolutely right, because I think I really feel this, that a mother takes the right kind of decision for her child. And over the period of time, you just feel they might be right, they might be wrong, but we intentionally never want to kind of take any bad, or make any bad choices for our children. So I think, yes, then somebody just needs to get up and say this. And when I say somebody, I mean somebody in your immediate family, that you're doing absolutely great in raising your child the way you're raising your child. So, yeah.
But in retrospect, what do you think could have been there as a support structure for you so that you can identify your feelings, emotions like anxiety, self doubt, and able to speak about it?
I think the biggest support or the structure comes around from your partner, which is very important, that you can, freely kind of discuss, or, and I think you just need to hear that once, you're doing absolutely right. It's, there can't be like, your choices and whatever decisions you take. There just needs to be that little understanding and that little space, I think, and it, more importantly than anybody else, it has to come from the partner.
But here now, I'm just talking about the solutions of this gap where identification of these feelings is a problem, and also having a support structure of that. Now, also as a partner might also not don't know how to identify those emotions
True.
uh, his partner during that motherhood phase. So keeping into picture like where you are right now, what could have been the possible solutions in that way, so that if any mother is listening to you, they can work on those things so that same feelings could be spoken about, or that space could be created around it.
You're right. What you said is absolutely right. I think even that partner wouldn't know probably. uh, but I think it's a process that that just gets evolved over the period of time. And you deal with a lot of anxiety, you deal with a lot of physical, mental challenges. um, but I think just speaking about it or talking to somebody, I think that really helps a lot. Or like I said, just in reassurance, oh, you're doing absolutely right, or you're making the right kind of choices, or you're taking the right kind of decisions for your child. And this is in the very, especially for the new mothers, or the who are in that very early infancy stage, where the children are very small and you just don't know how and where and who to speak to. Your body is going through so many changes. You just constantly feel that, if I'm doing the right kind of a thing for my child. You just need that little space that you can just open up to someone, speak to someone. And I think more importantly is just take that little time out, from raising that little human, because you're so much there 24 by 7, more than what a call center is. I think it's just that little time off where we kind of free yourself away, maybe for a couple of hours, but I think that does make a lot of difference. And not constantly keeping your mind still at home, which is very hard to do. But at least, that little bit time off with your friends or with the people you like the most. And I think most importantly is somebody who just keeps saying that you're doing absolutely right and absolutely great job.
Hmm, got it. How did you navigate? How did you navigate your decision to go back to work?
um when you meant navigate,
Like, what
I
was the
always.
choices you made, or what evaluations you made at your own end or at the family end to rejoin work?
I think I always wanted to, no matter what, because it was, like I said, it's a very important to have that little identity, or not even forget about that identity, but having the time off, or having just been in a different space and
Mhm.
not constantly be bothered or worried about, just your child and about the everything around him or her. So I think yes, that was very conscious kind of effort, I would say, that I wanted to, because I was very clear that I wanted to do that, you know, over a certain period of time.
What was that certain period of time for you?
So I always thought that, even until that they are about 4 or 5 years, it's a nice time to be around them. And then they're a little on their own. They can be, but this is again my personal, I would say, my personal opinion on this. And that's where I had decided that, that is when I should be kind of having a little balance and then venturing out.
And when you decided to rejoin work, did you feel any sort of, did you get any sort of questions from family, friends about what will happen to your son, how your son will raised up from now onwards, or we need to look for our kids or something like that?
Oh, not absolutely not. I think that is one thing which never happened with me. I think because I think there was a lot of transition, when because we moved here, So again, there were a lot of challenges, and you settling in a new country and then move, you know uh, s- adjusting everything, and then here you're just on your own. You don't have your grandparents, or you can just send your child and drop them off or somewhere. So in my case, there were these more challenges which happened after we moved here. So then there was that little time off again with adjusting and with balancing everything, but nobody questioned me. Of course, you had to be, you need to think through that, how would you manage, and what are the other options that you would want to, or you will explore that, how will you manage with the child care. Nobody questioned, like, oh my god, how are you going to do this, what is going to happen. But yes, it needs to be, you need to think through it.
And in your this 10-year journey of motherhood, at any point of time, were or are you able to reclaim your interests, hobbies, which you have spoken about earlier in the podcast, going out, trekking, or partying, something?
No.
Shopping?
No,
No.
going out, yes. Going out with friends, yes. But I haven't gone back to, no, no, not many of them that I have. As much I would like to do them. But there are the new things which again I started and I was doing and I'm
Like
doing.
what?
So, like I said, just being part of some women forum groups, and where you speak, and where you kind of talk to them and get heard, and you also hear them back. But not everything that I used to do, I am doing, not at all.
Hmm. And this is because.
I think because you just, there's so many things would change. After, like I said, you suddenly feel that you always feel that you always had a child with you. You suddenly don't know. So when you asked me what I used to do before, I actually, it made me think, what is that I used to do before.
Hmm.
How would I go? And I used to party a lot. That really makes me think now. um, so not because I would say, but I think it's just that your whole lifestyle changes, your the way things, and especially in my case, because like I said, we moved, right? So there were a lot of challenges because it's just you and your partner and your children. You don't have like grandparents or your parents who you can rely on and support on. So so I think, yeah, I think this is how life became, and this is how it is now. So yeah.
Okay, is how casually you are able to tell that and with a lot of confidence. It just interests me to ask another question, like how this motherhood has changed your perspective towards life.
Oh, it has changed a lot. It has totally, I think it just makes you a different person altogether. you know you
Mhm.
you, you just learn to be so patient. I think, no, motherhood just teaches you just being absolutely patient, and a lot of patience. It imbibes a lot of things in you, and it just changes the personality. I think I used to be very much. I would be very aggressive, and I would have been very, kind of a thing, and which has absolutely changed. And not that I'm not now, but it has drastically changed. It changes you, and it makes you a better person. I'm sure it just changes for good. Um, the other facts remaining, that you can't go out as much, or but I think these are just smaller things when you look at what you're doing, and with with the kind of, and then there are always
What are we
challenges.
doing? Means what are you doing as a mother when you say these are the smaller things, but you look at the
So
things
all
you're
these
doing?
things just look very minuscule. You can't party, or you can't go out,
Mhm.
and you can't go out for a movie, they suddenly, you just start feeling they're very minuscule. I mean, there are other things that you need to take care of. But having said that, what I mean is still that you need to have that time off for yourself. Now, having the time off could be, it's not partying for me, or it's just going out for a walk or doing my workout is a time off for myself. That's solely I'm with me, or giving time to myself. So, and again, there can't be regrets. There can't be regrets. Oh, I used to do this. So what? That there was that time in life when you did that, and you enjoyed it. And there's this time in life when you're doing what you're doing and you're still enjoying it. And you're not like, it's not like you can't go anywhere and you're stuck, and or you're just that's not how it is. And I think there's, see, we all go through a lot of things in our life, right? There are times when you enjoy certain things and it's okay, and this is now what it is, and this is, and a child by default becomes the center of your life revolves around your child, no matter what, and no matter what age they are.
How your how physical changes in mother, in a woman, and for you as a mother affected you in any way, if it has.
I think they do affect you physically, because you just get you get strained out, you're exhausted, you do so many things, and you have to be on your toes all the time. They are exhausting. It is demanding, especially with this nuclear kind of a setup. It is extremely demanding.
How did that
Um,
make you feel? How this exhaustion, strain, made you feel earlier, I mean, as a new mom and now also a 10-year-old mom?
I think earlier it used to be more because you just feel that, oh my god, you put on weight, oh my god, you put on weight, how do you deal with that, how do you deal with that? There's a lot of, you just get strained out. You are like, you just become a bit fussy, you are a bit agitated, uh, you are emotionally drained out sometimes, and you just constantly want to you just need a little shoulder to cry or something like that. But yeah, I think these all changes are a part of it. I don't know if everybody goes through this, honestly, but I feel most of them do. Uh, and and it's how you kind of quickly stand up, and you will keep on falling on it. I mean, I do, at least I do constantly keep falling, but it's like I said, now how I deal with it, that has changed and that has evolved for me. Now it is more about staying calm. It's okay. You back, and sometimes says kind of the things which they shouldn't be saying. And then you're like, sometimes you start doubting, oh my god, why did I why did I do all of this, and why did I sacrifice so much? But I think it's like I said, it's the way I deal with it now, and I'm like, okay.
So if you have to advise new mothers to balance their life so that they don't feel that they have lose some identity for yourself, themselves, and also they are able to enjoy their motherhood while raising their kid or kids, so what would you suggest how they can balance those things out for themselves?
I think that little piece of advice would be just, kind of take some time off, and give some little bit of time to yourself, and just have that little conversation. That is very, very important. Just being able to speak to someone and open up to someone. It could be anybody, a friend, or your mom, or your gynac, or anyone that you feel comfortable, and you feel that you will not be judged for anything. Now, I think these two things, they just help you, and they just kind of help you have your sanity in place. just speaking to someone, and and just that doing little thing for yourself, taking that little time out, be it anything, going out with friends for a coffee, or doing workouts, or it could be anything, but I think it's very important.
So, just want to get more clear picture on that. When you say time off, so how they can get the time off as a new mother, as you said, that from the cultural perspective, in India especially, that mothers are not going out when the kids are just born, and they are also in at home with their kids, nursing them, taking care of them. So what would you like to say around that lens so that they can take time off during that time too?
I think it would be just about I don't know if you if they just can't go out. I mean, there are restrictions. Not that you can't go out, but there are just restrictions to venture out initially, when you're just kind of going through that entire journey of postpartum. And so so how, I think it's a very individual thing. How should they do it? But I think these are the two things which worked for me. I did not take that little time off. I remember, because I kind of got myself engrossed so much into it. But I feel if I had done that, that would have helped in a positive way. Uh, but yes, talking to somebody is very, very important. Just that somebody's there to listen to you, and help you calm down with your anxieties. And it's most of the times, I think, mothers know how to deal with things. It's just that they just want somebody to hear them out. It could be your partner, it could be your mother, it could be anybody that you just feel that you'll not be judged, or somebody just calmly and patiently just listens to you and just says that one word, and then you're doing everything absolutely right. Just go on. This is just that initial phase. And but trust me, whoever says that this is just the initial phase of children, and once they are little older you will be all free, then they say, oh, no, 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 they'll be little more older and then you will be more free. I think on the contrary, when the child is just a newborn, or if till the time they don't really they don't start crawling and they don't start walking, I think you're still pretty relaxed. The moment they start doing that, then you have to be like, with the lenses, you have to be after them. Oh, what is happening? But yeah, not drifting away from what you asked. I think, yeah, the whole thing is just to talk to somebody and just open up to somebody about how you feel. There's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of struggle, and there's a lot of the physical changes that a woman goes through, her body goes through. So it's constantly very important, because I think, I just remembered now that you asked me what one change. So there's this has got nothing to do with any advice or anything. But before, when I used to go for movies or anything, and there used to be these kind of emotional scenes, I never cried. And when I used to look around, and I used to feel like, I used to laugh, and I used to think, why are these, this is just a movie, what is wrong with you, why are people crying? But now, after, and this is one thing that I've noticed, that since the time, I've become a mother, any movie, and if there's the slightest of the emotional scene, my tears start rolling down. And I can't see anything, where movies where they have, something to do with children, when there are wrong things which are done with the children, I just can't watch them. I just can't watch them. I just switch it off, or go to some, or just, fast forward that clip, or but I think these are very subtle and silent changes that have happened over the years. Because I still remember that initially, when I used to watch the movie, I used to think, oh my god, what's wrong with these people? That's just a movie. It's just a movie, it's all fake, it's not real. But now, when I watch any kind of emotional or intense kind of scene, I am like, the tears just start rolling down. And but this is a, like I said, this is a very subtle change which has happened over the years.
Hmm. Cool. Okay, now I'll be saying you few emotions, and you have to tell me like when you have felt these emotions, in what situations in your motherhood. Okay, with respect to yourself,
Okay.
your identity and yourself, not with respect to your son, but with yourself. Okay, fearful.
Just to myself, yes, I have become extremely fearful. I was not like this before.
Hmm.
I have become quite fearful.
Uh, could you explain us slightly, like how you have become more fearful? In what way?
Like I said, if I watch some clips or something is going wrong with kids, or when movies they show some kind of a part where a child is abused or anything like that, I just can't watch all that. And there are kind of thoughts that just crawls inside the mind, and I can't watch those things.
Okay, anger.
Anger, I would say. It's yes, sometimes just being a mother, and because you're going through so many things, I do tend to get upset and angry, and also that frustration comes out on the child. I'll be very honest, it does come out on the child. And when the child then questions you and saying that you're just taking out that frustration, that something has gone wrong with you and you're just taking it out on me, and that is where you feel, oh my god, what am I doing?
Where you become a mother, that anger becomes more and frustration becomes more.
I can't answer that honestly. That's very difficult to answer. I think it does.
Sad.
Sad, yes, yes. I think it has happened more because you just feel sad a lot of times when you with me that happens when you just see what is happening to the children around the world, or it just makes me extremely sad. And I because I think there are certain emotions or the certain things which you I think develop over the years after being a mother, which was not there, like your motherly instinct, for example, which was not there before. Even when your child kinds of answers you back and says kind of things which he or she shouldn't be saying to you, you feel extremely sad and vulnerable, and you feel like, oh my god, it comes down to a point, why did I give birth to you? It's like, I'm sure we all have heard this from our parents also, pata nahi tumko kis तुमको क्यों हमने इस दुनिया में हम क्यों लेके आए, and all that. But yes, sad, yes. And it has
Surprised.
increased.
Surprised.
Yeah, you do get surprised, the kind of affection, the kind of love, and the kind of selfless love which you get from your child, and the kind of, not only just that, but the kind of selfless love that you can also give to your child, because I don't think there can't be that selfless love which is there between a parent and a child. No matter what your child does to you, you will always only wish good and good. It might differ with your partner. Sometimes you might think bad things about each other, or with your friends or anybody else, or even for that matter with your own parents. You can't think that what you can think, or how selflessly you love your child. And that's where that's what they say. I still remember, and I'm sure we all have heard this from our parents, तुम जब बाप बनोगे या माँ बनोगी तब तुम्हें समझ में आएगा कि कैसे होता है. And that is so true. That is so 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 true, that because you constantly kind of go back and think, oh my god, I would have back answered my mom, and imagine how she would have felt, or my dad would have felt. I would have said some wrong things, and which we all do, isn't it? That's all the part of growing, and we would have hurted them, and we would have hurt them, and we would have chosen to be with our friends instead of them. And this is so true. It's a very thing. Oh, जब तुम बाप बनोगे या जब तुम माँ बनोगी तुम्हें पता चलेगा. And when you're growing up and you listen to this, you're like, I mean, what are you talking? But you just resonate so much with it after in your parenting journey.
and happiness, happy emotion.
I think yes, absolutely. Nothing in this world can bring you that joy and happiness when your child comes and hugs you, or when you come back from work and your child is like eagerly waiting and opens the door for you and just says, I missed you, or um, nothing in this world can change that. Or see your child grow, or be it little small things when they do perform well in their examinations or perform well in their matches or anything. There's that instant happiness, and there's that different level of happiness which you get.
Awesome, cool. Thank you so much for sharing your story, your emotions. I think conversation becomes a little vulnerable also in between. So that was like last of my question, but I'm glad we had this conversation. Thank you for your
Thank you
time,
so much,
Darshana.
Piyush. I think it was wonderful talking to you and just opening up.